Hello, my name is Yoli Chisholm and I manage digital demand generation. I see my goal in our team, our role, really to focus on creating a world-class marketing organization. So there are 5 things that I'm focused on, and it's really about having a progressive foundation of digital marketing best practices. And that is really what are the universal truths that we've learned over the time about what works in digital marketing, but also being adaptable to the changes as we're impacted by new technology and new practices, but also being on the leading and bleeding edge of innovation, really looking for new tools, practices, and technology that can help us deliver, and data-driven marketing. We are really double down on letting the data do the talking. We look for best-in-class marketing technologies and ad tech partners, as well as building a learning organization and ensuring that my team has the right skills to be modern marketers in this space. I've found over the last few years that it's really fallen in 3 categories. We've had to sort of adapt our mindset, and we've had to upgrade and update our skill sets, as well as have new set of tools that can help us deliver a much more connected sales and marketing experience. This is actually not new to marketers. Like you, like most of you, you've been around for all of the changes. I started in digital marketing in the 90s, and like you, I've been the Pied Piper within the organization, trying to get the leadership to start putting the circular online. That's how I started, was the person sort of being a seller internally, saying, hey, we should be getting on board this internet train. Like you've been around when it was, the first banner became clickable, or email marketing became a capability. And so I really think of our team as sort of internal sellers. So the pace of change will never be as slow as it is today. With increased computing power, social, mobile, and use of data, we're finding that we're just having to move faster and have to enable our team to react accordingly. So one of the first ways that we've had to sort of change our mindset is what I call the switch from madmen to mathmen. And it's really balancing our artistic side and our analytical side, or the creative side, and sort of the side that is, as we have integrated data scientists into the team. The switch from madmen to mathmen has been very humbling. And one of the examples I always like to remind the team of is there was a time when we would have the agency come in every week, and we'd have these long, drawn out creative discussions and creative reviews that would take a lot of time, when the truth is we really just needed the data to kind of tell the story. And when we started testing a dynamic creative production platform called RevJet, we found that all of our creative hypotheses were really irrelevant. There was one campaign where it was really the banner with the purple background that won time and time again. So the data really has become sort of the source of truth. So the second mindset shift has really been from thinking of ourselves as sort of traditional marketers to revenue marketers. And what that has meant is sort of a role reversal with our sales team, in terms of we are trying to be better sellers as marketers, and we're trying to enable our sellers to become better marketers. With the advent of social selling and social prospecting, we've doubled down on LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and tools like Sociable and Cicito, and our sellers are becoming much more engaged in social. And conversely, our targeting is influenced to a much greater degree by our target sales lists. And so we're double down on account-based marketing, and we really think of ourselves mentally as marketers who are sellers. So the third mindset shift has really been thinking of ourselves as growth hackers. And I know a lot of you have been hearing that term, particularly in the startup space, but we've adopted a growth mindset. And how that's sort of translated in our space is that we look for media partners who are able to play together And so we're really thinking about how can we stitch together the marketing technology and ad tech stack in a way that really lights up the entire customer journey. And so we're really thinking about what do we need to have happen from a technical standpoint, and our marketers have to have the skill set to at least understand how the technology works together, and that includes tracking and tagging and data integration and how data is passed through from one platform to another, really to enable our sales teams to have much greater insight. And so growth hacking and having a growth mindset is really important for us as marketers. And as we think about how we've transformed our mindset, we've also had to upgrade our skills. So one of the big changes that we actually made last year was bringing media buying in-house. And we have, within the US, we actually do all of the strategy and actually do all of the execution. And so we don't work with a media agency. And what this has allowed us to do has increased our speed to market, faster optimization on campaigns, and our marketers are forced to sort of understand the ecosystem of technology and media platforms in a much more deeper way, particularly as it relates to how we leverage data. And so we have smarter data use and control. And the result is innovation, and the result is just much better allocation of our funds. Now, we do this alongside with having our agencies at the global level that are doing our big and broad awareness campaigns. And what we do is we use ourselves internally in the US as sort of an innovation hub. And when we find proven performing tactics, we then can scale those out globally. The second sort of shift in our thinking has been from, it used to be sort of brand or direct response, to now we think about how we do our brand awareness campaigns with direct response and how we leverage the big campaigns that are happening at the global level for the campaigns to help deliver what we need to at a subsidiary level within the US. This might be intuitive for a smaller company, but for us, a lot of times the brand department is a completely different department than the teams that are responsible for driving direct response. But we've made a shift there where we're leveraging all the traffic that is coming from our big brand awareness campaigns, ensuring that those landing pages are cookied and instrumented appropriately so that we can retarget and remarket to the folks that are being driven to those pages and leverage that traffic for our direct response campaigns. The next thing we think about is ensuring that our demand strategy reflects the buyer journey. And that has really impacted how we think about the marketing mix. It's no longer just about the lowest cost channel, but it's really about showing up everywhere that our buyer is and understanding natively, what are they there to do? What is the content that they would engage with, and how do we really drive traffic and action from those different ecosystems. So our media mix really reflects the buyer journey. Attribution intelligence, this is the holy grail, and there's still a lot to really learn here, but we really are trying to be a little bit more sophisticated about how we think about what ultimately drove the sale or the conversion, and really thinking about that path to conversion. It's no longer just about the lowest cost action and optimizing those channels that may have had a higher cost per end action, but it's really about what are the assists along the way. I can recall a campaign that we were running where it looked like the social channel was beating out our display programmatic media partners. But when we looked a little closer at the data, we found that there were a few views, there were a lot of views happening in the display, from the display channels before the final conversion in social. And we think of those as assists. And so we really use an even attribution model at this time. But there's still a lot to learn when it comes to attribution intelligence, and that's something that we're really thinking about. We have always used the traditional model of paid, owned, and earned as we build our marketing plans. And one thing that we have made a shift in is really thinking about paid, owned, earned, and sales. So really thinking about sales as that fourth marketing channel. The folks at EY really coined that term, and I thought it was really useful, a useful framework to think about how we build our demand generation plans. And it's really about what are the go-dos for paid, owned, earned, and sales. And it has also meant that our targeting strategies are influenced by sales, and then we also have some core actions for the sales teams to do that are synced in terms of timing. You know, when a campaign launches, in paid, we're really thinking about how do we sync our social channels, how do we leverage earned, how do we ensure that our sales teams have the right content to share with their prospects, because we are essentially reinforcing who's in their sales pipeline, and we need to develop content to make sure that they have an opportunity to re-engage with those prospects in their pipeline. And so we really think about building demand plans that sync paid, owned, earned, and sales. So the tool set, so we've changed our mindset, we're adopting new skill sets and practices, and then we really have to think about what are the tools that we need to bring in-house to be successful. So account-based marketing, we've always had targeted accounts, managed accounts, but we're really getting a little bit more crisper about how we build our targeting strategies in paid media, and how even our organic social channels are engaging with people that are in our pipeline. So how do we tie the data that's coming through from Marketo or that is in our internal CRM system to influence our targeting strategy in paid, and how do we enable our social community managers to also engage with the target accounts that are in our pipeline. And that also includes our social, the sellers who are in our social selling program. So we need to ensure that we have the right content and also surface the actions. So when somebody in their pipeline has, say, attended an event or downloaded a white paper or read an ebook or watched a webinar, we need to enable our sales teams to understand that that action has happened and give them a next action to take and re-engage with the account. So account-based marketing is a big part of how we think about our targeting for our paid, but it's also how we think about how our social teams engage and how our sellers re-engage with folks in their pipeline. So I kind of put these all in one bucket. We think about marketing automation. We leverage Marketo, and all of our leads go into specific nurture funnels and are scored. And we're really thinking about how do we extend that so that we're connecting our paid media with our media partners with our marketing automation platform. And so we really look for media partners that can integrate with Marketo. And we think about marketing automation with ad sequencing and personalization. So how can we really develop a better experience for the prospect, for the buyer? We need to know who they are, we need to know what they've done, and we need to know what's the next action we want to take. And really that involves stitching together our marketing automation platform with our paid media partners and our other ad MarTech technologies. For our marketers, we really need to have a modern marketing dashboard. So it's not just about understanding, did we acquire an unknown user and turn them into known? It's really about that entire funnel. So how are we doing in terms of turning them into a marketing qualified lead and a telequalified lead down to a win? So we need to have the dashboards, and we use Power BI, our own technology, to really surface the insights that enable our marketers to optimize the content that's being developed, to optimize their marketing mix and the channels, and really understand what is driving that path to conversion and what is happening with those leads. The real ultimate goal is really thinking about how do we enable real-time advertising. And it's a combination of our ad technology, our marketing technology. And so I like to tease the team and think about ad tech plus MarTech equals mad tech. And what we're really trying to think about is how do we get the right action in front of the user based on the data that we know, the actions they've taken, the engagements they've had with us in social, the events they've attended, the content they've downloaded, what's the next action we want to take. And so we really think about how do we combine the right technology together to surface those insights and deliver a personalized experience to our buyers.